My wife became a doctor and celebrated by filing for divorce the very same day. And the strange part is that I didn't argue, didn't shout, didn't even feel shocked. I just sat there in the kitchen, still wearing the shirt I'd bought for her graduation, and listened as she explained it like she was discussing a schedule change. 8 years. That's how long I'd worked to support her dream. 8 years of double shifts, overtime, side jobs, and skipped vacations so she could focus on med school without worrying about rent or groceries. 8 years of hearing, just one more exam, just one more semester, and once I graduate, things will finally be normal. Graduation day was a Thursday in May, warm and crowded, families packed shoulder to shoulder in the auditorium. I took the day off work for the first time in months, ironed my shirt, and sat there convinced this was our victory lap. When they called her name, I stood and clapped harder than anyone, pride swelling in my chest like I'd crossed the finish line too. Afterward, everyone gathered outside for photos, laughing and hugging. I waited by the car holding flowers while she posed with classmates, her white coat already folded over her arm like she couldn't wait to put it on. When she finally walked over, I leaned in for a hug. Instead, she handed me a manila envelope. "What's this?" I asked, already knowing. "Divorce papers," she said calmly. "I already signed." No hesitation. No tears. This wasn't sudden, it was planned. I flipped through the pages, seeing our life reduced to bullet points and percentages. "You're serious?" I asked. "Completely."
She replied, "I don't need this marriage anymore. I have job offers, a future. You were helpful during school, but that chapter's over." Helpful. That was the word she chose. 8 years of sacrifice boiled down to one word. "So I was financial aid?" I asked. She shrugged. "You knew my priorities. Medical school came first. Now I want a clean start. No dead weight." Dead weight. Her classmates were watching us from across the parking lot. I signed every page right there without arguing. "Congratulations," I said, handing the envelope back. "On the degree and the divorce." Her eyes widened like she'd expected resistance, maybe even begging. I walked away without looking back. 3 days later, I was gone, not just from the apartment, but from the entire state. She assumed I'd crash with friends or family nearby. She didn't realize I'd been quietly handling all the logistics for years. The lease was in my name. The utilities were in my name. The joint accounts were funded almost entirely by my income. I closed them all, canceled everything, transferred my phone number, packed what mattered, and left while she was working a hospital shift. I drove west until the roads felt unfamiliar and landed in Portland because no one there knew me or my past. I found a small apartment, took a construction management job within a week, and built a routine that felt calm for the first time in nearly a decade. Back home, her reality collapsed fast. The landlord didn't care that she was a doctor now. Utilities shut off. Bills piled up. The messages started almost immediately. "We need to talk." Deleted. Calls followed, dozens a day. Ignored. By week 3, she showed up at my old job demanding to see me. My former supervisor called to warn me. "That woman says she's your wife." "I don't have a wife," I replied. Month 2 brought desperation. She tried using me as a reference for housing. My number was disconnected. She contacted my parents, my siblings, even old coworkers. Every single one told her the same thing. They didn't know her. By month 3, she tracked down my new employer, claiming an emergency. My boss passed along the message. "There is no emergency," I said. "I have no family by that name." Portland suited me. I hiked on weekends, took evening classes, cooked real meals again. I met a woman at a bookstore who had her own career, paid her own bills, and listened when I spoke. When I told her I was divorced, she smiled and said, "Good for you for knowing when to walk away." No drama. Just understanding. 6 months passed, then a year, and I stopped checking for messages entirely. Life became peaceful, balanced. Mine. 3 years later, I learned through mutual gossip that my ex's dream hadn't turned out the way she imagined. Residency pay was low. Student debt was crushing. Without my income, the apartment was impossible. She took on roommates, worked brutal hours, lived on hospital cafeteria food. The freedom she wanted turned into exhaustion. Meanwhile, I'd been promoted, bought a small house, and built a life that felt stable. The woman from the bookstore became my partner. We split bills, shared responsibilities, and respected each other. Eventually, my ex hit bottom. Her car broke down, and she couldn't afford to fix it. No savings. No safety net. That's when she started searching for me. Social media first, then old friends, then a private investigator. Nothing. Finally, she crossed a line and abused medical databases, scanning records across states. A routine physical tied to my employer gave her the trail. Portland. She found me. The calls returned, dozens, then hundreds. Messages filled with regret and apologies. Deleted. She showed up at my workplace and sat in the lobby for hours. Left notes about our future. Drove around the city looking for my truck. Posted desperate messages online. My partner showed me one and asked if I was okay. She doesn't understand, I said. Some bridges don't get rebuilt. Then one evening, I came home and found her parked outside my house. She looked older, tired, smaller. That was when she finally understood the last lesson. When you throw someone away like dead weight, you don't get to decide years later that you want them back.